Hey yo, what up, what up, what up? It's Lemekh with selahsportstv. I'm gonna take it back to what up, fans of the fucking sport, right here, right? Um, we had a good fight tonight, man. Well, we had a fight tonight, man. We had a fight tonight, didn't we? Triple G, Canelo, the third installment of this series. If I could describe this fight in one word, uneventful. I thought the fight was uneventful for the first about 7 rounds. Now the problem with that is Canelo took the first 7 rounds. Not a lot of action, but Triple G just didn't really step it up until around the 8th round. It's 8th round, that's too late. I mean, just mathematically, it's too late. Unless you really going for a stoppage. And he did hurt Canelo in the 9th round, but he never really capitalized on it. Let's talk about the fight. Props to both fighters, man. Props to both fighters for getting in there, throwing down. We know that with everything that's been said, it's a fight. So you gotta hate each other in the build-up. You can't go into it, wanting to be a guy's friend when you're about to fight him. Even if you are friends, like you have to pick up on the friendship after the fight. So I was impressed, man. They went for it, and when the fight was over, you could see that they couldn't wait for that fight to be over. It's like usually when the fight's over, you gotta go walk back to your corner, blow some steam off real quick, take a couple deep breaths before you can hug it out with the guy that you were just fighting for 12 rounds. That's how it usually goes. Like, dude, not right now. Hold up, give me a second. If you remember the Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter fight. Like, when that fight ended, Porter needed a minute. Like, Crawford tried to go over immediately, and Porter's like, whoa, wait a minute, get the fuck away from me for a second. Right? Because right now, I still want to fucking beat your fucking head in. I'm still mad right now. Give me a second. Right? And then we can be friends. We can be friends in a minute, But in this fight, Canelo Triple G is like, ding, ding, ding. They immediately embrace. That's respect. That's them showing respect. That speaks louder than anything. And, hey, props, for keeping it classy. Like I just said, Canelo built up that solid lead early. I mean, he took the first 7th round, not because he was like just beating the shit out of Golovkin. It's just that Golovkin was just ineffective. He was just he wasn't busy, he wasn't moving as fast as he needed to. He wasn't trying. It just seemed like he wasn't trying to beat Canelo to the punch. It was weird. It looked weird to me. Considering how he looked in that 8th round. Like, I'm talking about twitchy, came out looking more like the Triple G we know, the killer, right? Those first 7 rounds, I don't know, man. I just didn't see it. I didn't see it. He had some success. He was throwing the jab out there. He was hitting Canelo with the right hand, but it didn't have the stank on it that it needed. His punches didn't have that stank on it like they usually do. It wasn't the power jab. It was more of like a pawing jab, and that's not the Triple G we know. Okay, I just think the pace. Honestly, I think the early pace of that fight got to Triple G. We got to remember that he was moving up to 168. So he's carrying a couple extra pounds, not a whole lot. I mean, he's probably fighting at his walk around weight, closer to his walk around weight. But that's not what he is used to. Like, he's a career middleweight, This is his only fight at 168. The guy's been a middleweight his whole career. So I don't know if that was part of it or not, but it just seems like Canelo's pace was too much for Golovkin to handle early in the fight. Also, a part of that was Golovkin was doing a great job of maintaining distance. We know Golovkin is not a inside fighter. Triple G has never been known to be a inside fighter. Like, if you get inside, his main thing, he's probably going to wrap you up and get back to his distance where he can fire off those jabs and that big right hand. That's what he wants to do. That's how it's different types of killers. That's his weapon of choice, distance. He doesn't want to trade on the inside, especially with a guy like Canelo. So by him focusing on distance so much, Canelo he picked up the pace, and he made him focus on his feet more than he probably wanted to. Right? It turned Golovkin it turned him into a defensive fighter. Okay. One thing I gotta say, bro, I don't ever want to see or hear Danny Jacobs in the commentator's booth. Again, he was terrible, bro. I lost all respect for Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs is a script-reading punk, man. And I liked him. I thought Danny Jacobs was a solid dude, but when I saw that he did a job in there tonight for Canelo, he was Canelo's water boy in that commentator booth tonight. I'm talking about as soon as the fucking opening bell rings to start the fight, ding, 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 ding. Oh, and you can just tell early, Golovkin he's just moving a little slower. You can tell he's not really on his A game. I'm like, what are you talking about? The fight just started. It's literally the first round. If you think I'm lying, go back and watch that fight. Go back and watch it. And that's when I just turned the shit down. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, every time he opened his mouth, he revealed himself to be a Canelo cocksucker. Like, dude, what the fuck, man? That was terrible, man. I hate shit like that. Like, you're swaying, you weaving a narrative on the public, man. And for what? We can see the fight. We don't need you doing that. He never acknowledged anything Triple G did. Never. Like, anytime. Like, one time, I think it was this maybe the second or third round? But, I mean, Canelo, he loaded up on one of those big left hooks, right? He loaded up with a big left hook and caught nothing but air. He didn't hit nothing. Everybody saw it. We all saw it. Danny Jacobs. Oh, and you see Canelo just connect with that big left hook. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what is this script reading punk talking about? Like, dude, just shut the fuck up, man. We can see the fight. And I thought that just took away from it a little bit. For me, it did. For me, it took away from the fight. Like, Danny Jacobs is a bitch, man. I don't give a fuck, man. That was terrible what he did. Because it's a reason why you're doing that. Like, he doesn't work fights. He doesn't do commentating. So it's like they put him in there just for that. Just so that he could do that all night for Canelo. Just so he could do that all night for Canelo. You niggas weird, bro. Niggas weird. Everybody else just calling the fight down the middle, and then you got this script reading punk saying all this dumb shit the whole fucking fight. That pissed me off. Anyway, because I digress. Overall, solid win for Canelo. I'm not gonna overblow it. Yeah, I picked Triple G to win by a surprise stoppage. I thought that Canelo was coming in. I didn't think Canelo's mind was right. I didn't think Like, my prediction was based off of me believing that Canelo didn't learn his lesson. Did Canelo learn his lesson? I think he learned enough of it, right? He came in boxing, mixing it up beautifully, boxing and moving, and then every now and then he'll slug. So I thought Canelo, there was a solid performance by him. He didn't really show too much weakness. Though he does have weaknesses, right? We know that, but I just don't think Triple G could access those weaknesses tonight. He didn't. He waited too long to get into the fight. What's next for both fighters? That's a big question, isn't it? I mean, what's next for the big drama show? The big drama show, right? What's next for Triple G? Well, he's already hinted that he's gonna be moving back down to 160. It's cool. Like, I'm never gonna say, oh, he needs to retire. He needs to retire. I don't think that was proven tonight. He definitely lost his fight, but he didn't look like just way out of place in there. Like, he didn't get destroyed. He just, just didn't have enough to beat Canelo at this stage of both their careers. He doesn't have enough in the tank to beat a guy like Canelo. That doesn't mean that he can't beat some of these other guys. Some of these he can definitely beat some of these other guys, but who are these other guys? Lemekh Canuli, right? He's there. That's a guy. But see, the thing about that, they're both from Kazakhstan. So, like, would they fight each other? I know Triple G is like Johnny Beck's. It's like he's like his idol or some shit. It's like, would they fight each other? To me, that'd be the perfect guy to pass the torch to. Your countrymen, right? What's all this shit? I don't want to fight my countrymen shit. And I've never heard Triple G say that. So maybe that's the plan, to go ahead and pass the torch to Johnny Beck. Would he fight a guy like Andrade? Like, to me, that's a guy he could have fought a long time ago. Should have fought a long time ago. I was looking for that fight. You know what I mean? So, and then you got Charlo, Jamal Charlo, which that would be a great fight. I don't think it happens though, because of all the PBC. Like, it's just too much shit with PBC and like getting those guys in the ring. It just takes, like, the stars got to be aligned properly and the moon got to be in a certain spot. The fucking sun got to be over here. In order to get everything, just has to be perfect to get these guys in the ring. The guys over there at Premier Boxing Champions. So Triple G has some options. I don't think an option for him is staying at 168. I don't think. I would bet on him moving back down to 160. He just fought Canelo. Canelo has all the belts. You basically got a title shot. Canelo has all the belts. So why would you stay at 168? That means you would be dropping up his 3 belts at 160. Which I don't see that happening. I see him making a return back to 160. What's next for Canelo? I think here's where Canelo sits back with his fingers crossed. His fingers crossed, his hands clasped tightly, on his knees every night, praying that somehow Zurdo Ramirez can screw over Bivol and get a win. Right? I think that's where Canelo is effective immediately. I think Canelo he hopes that Zurdo would beat Bivol. He's already said, I will not fight any Mexicans. I will not fight another Mexican. So, he's not gonna fight he's not gonna fight a guy based off of race. And that's fine that's fine for him, It's fine for him. But if another person, if Tyson Fury came out and said, Yeah, I'm not gonna fight another white guy. All right, I'll fight anybody, but I'm not fighting another white man. Everybody will be going ape shit. Everybody will be going ape shit. But Canelo says he don't want to fight a Mexican, and it's like nobody bats an eyelash, right? So I think that's where he is. He's hoping Zurdo gets that victory over Bivol. I don't think that happens. I think Bivol gives Zurdo a severe boxing lesson. Zurdo has fought nobody, man. Zurdo Ramirez has fought nobody. I don't give a fuck about him having 40 wins. Who did he beat? And you talking about Dimitri Bivol, he's a legit A-list fighter, bro. He's an A-level fighter. So yeah, Zurdo gets schooled. Whenever that fight happens, Zurdo gets taken to school by Bivol. Okay. Being big, that's one thing, but it's really not that big a deal. It's the skills that pay the bills. If it wasn't, they would say size pays the bills, but it doesn't. Like, I've never fought a guy my size. I'm almost scared to see what would happen if I fought a guy that was my size. I always have fought guys bigger than me. And I don't have too many scrapes and scratches. You know, I can take a punch. You know, it's happened. But it's the skills that pay the bills. So yeah, Zurdo gets sat down in class and schooled by Bivol. You can take that shit to the bank. Then we will see. Then that's where the real pressure starts to mount for Mr. Canelo, because then we'll see, will he return to the scene of the crime? You know, will he return to the scene of that crime where Bivol just took his ass apart in the ring for 10 out of 12 rounds? You know, will he return to that dark place and fight that guy again? Or will you fight David Benavidez, who's been calling you out something crazy? Right? I'm here for it. I have my preference. I mean, Benavidez is in your weight class. He's at 168. Fight him. Fight the guy. Hey, why? Because he's the WBC interim champion. He deserves a shot. We know he lost his belts. Hey, Canelo cocksuckers, we know that David Benavidez made some mistakes when he was 21 or 22 years old. We know that. What kind of decisions were you making when you were 21 and 22? Were all your decisions great? Did you make any mistakes? Were you like perfect at 21 and 22 years old? Shut the fuck up. He's been on the comeback trail ever since. And he worked his way back up to a mandatory. Twice. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. He earned it. Fight him. Fuck you running for? So that's what's next. And shit. We shall see, won't we? We shall see. Very interesting. Boxing is it's about to get very interesting. We got, I've been talking about the Bivol Ramirez fight. Got Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, possibly a AJ and Fury fight. You know, like, we got great fights coming our way. You know, we got not Katie Taylor. We got what's that dude's name? Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. We got those fights. Yeah, we're good, man. We are good. So if you like the video, what I want you to do is throw that jab in the right hand, and then I want you to kind of turn slightly sideways, like you kind of angling off. You're going to the, step over like you're going to the other side. And then I want you to wing that overhand right out of nowhere to the like button. Peace.